Welcome back to the program. You're watching Daybreak on Trust TV. Time for us to take a look at the papers this morning to bring you up to speed with the stories making the headlines. And we start off with a look at the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper for today, Monday, March 1st, 2024, and the first day of Ramadan. Here are some of the stories. 2 months after EFCC, the presidency silent on Better Edu NSIPA, that's the National Social Investment Program Agency boss, who have all been indicted or are currently under investigation for alleged misappropriation of funds. And yeah, it's the radio silence is very loud, isn't it, Sumaya? That we've been talking about the Better Edu gate and Halima, who is also the suspended NSIPA boss, and apparently everything has gone quiet.
It's looking like just them losing their position is the punishment, but it shouldn't be.
But they've not been sacked. They're suspended.
Okay, there's
so what's going on?
What is happening?
Is 2 months not enough for us to actually get to the bottom of the situation? You know what they say about justice delayed, right? It's like justice denied, and I get this feeling in my gut that we're not going to get justice as far as this issue is concerned. More on that story on page 5. Federal government denies budget padding, false Ningi's allegation. Ramadan begins today, as we all know, and the big story is about the unfortunate kidnapping in Kaduna. Parents of abducted Kaduna students cry out for help. We watched bandits shepherd our children to the bush. Escapees recount near-death experience. My brother shot dead trying to save his siblings. And you can see some of the pictures of abductees, those who were fortunate enough to escape. And it's just a very horrific development. I mean, Chibok was traumatic enough. Dapchi happened. So many other school abductions in the past. This one happening recently is just, it's right. It's just, it's just unfortunate.
We keep seeing these things happen, and in the span of 1 week, we had the IDP camps abducted in about 400 people in Borno State. We're having this in the Chikun local government area also, about 300 people. And then I think yesterday or on Saturday there was also the Sokoto students, also about 15
students that were kidnapped.
Exactly. So right now with the whole in school initiative, it's not looking.
The Safe School initiative is just
it's not safe at all.
It's failing to hit the target, and there is no gainsaying that. But in other news, workers trapped as 5-story building collapses in Anambra. Unfortunate development there. Page 8 has more on that story.
I hope they all survive that.
59 doctors resign in Nasarawa, alleged poor welfare. We're talking about the exodus of doctors and how the minister is talking about recruitment.
And how the minister is blaming the people.
So
you can't blame
what do you
them
have to
when
say about
you
this
don't
one?
give them better options.
Exactly. They cannot just keep suffering and smiling at the same time. 59 doctors. That, to me, I don't know what the doctor to patient ratio is in Nasarawa, but this is definitely going to affect them negatively. But that's it on the front page of the Daily Trust for today.
All right, let's move on to the Punch. The top of the page that says Tinubu launches the student loan on Thursday. That's foreign scholars seek inclusion. Okay, you'll find that on page 10 of the newspaper there, or 40 rather. Only foreign borrowing can save Naira. Clear the CBN debts. That's according to EIU. Now, some experts are saying, we need to get more, we should borrow more in order to save.
How do you say, giving someone rope so that they can tie themselves? This is exactly what they mean.
Exactly. I mean, it doesn't even sound right.
We don't need foreign borrowing to get out of this debt.
It doesn't sound right.
We need to limit our debt and then boost our GDP through local production and improved, output.
Exactly.
I don't think you're going out of debt by, we're going to save the naira by borrowing more.
It doesn't even make sense.
No.
It doesn't sound right, honestly. And then if we can look at the examples of countries like China, where now they have more production and then they export,
they're the manufacturing
and all the
capital of the
payment is
world.
done in their own currency. So if we can do that, that would definitely boost the naira. One way can export and then use India, the naira to pay, and asks everybody, you have to pay in naira. I think that would help the currency. All right, let's look at the major story there. It says schools in 14 states, FCT risk attacks, says the federal government. Honestly, we just want the federal government to do the needful. Adamawa, Bauchi, Borno, Katsina, FCT, and others affected. 465 pupils, women in kidnappers' den. That number is alarming and scary. The federal government receiving U.S. support to free victims. Presidency alleges the sub-regional forces behind kidnappings. Now, if we all know of all of this, then something should be done. It's not about getting support from the U.S., to make sure the victims are freed. If it would be a rotational cycle, like they free these victims, but then others are kidnapped again, and then,
These are soft targets, Sumaya, and that's the whole point of the Safe School Initiative, to not make them soft targets anymore. The perimeter fencing, where are we with that? This school that was recently attacked, they did have perimeter fencing, they did have security. We know of its vicinity and how prone to some of this attack it could be. So it's as if we know what the problems are, but the will to do something about the problem is just not there. And I think that's just to put it in summary.
What was terrifying about what happened in Kuriga village was the fact that they said it's been a while since they had a police station, which every locality should have, every village.
An outpost or a station.
Just exactly. And they said it has been a while. So honestly, that is disheartening. You realize that even with the chunk load of budgets being given to the defense, there is still a lot of people that are not feeling, the impact of the security agencies, and it's really sad. So below that, we have a pictorial of Jerusalem, Egypt, and Saudi Arabia, trying to sight the moon. Okay, that was yesterday. And of course, the moon was sighted today. Everyone is fasting, so Ramadan begins today. Sultan 6 prayer against insecurity and hardship. Well, of course, everyone needs to put all hands on deck when it comes to prayer to do that. But we also need the necessary stakeholders to do the needful as well. Now, oil earning rise by 450 billion naira in 2 months. That's according to the federal government. Ogun police nab 3 for murder attempt. You find that on page 4. Blackout waters as hoodlums vandalize the transmission line. A really exhausting situation there. You find that on page 31. Now, these are some of the stories that you'd find on Punch newspaper today.
All right, The Guardian is up next, so let's take a look at the front page of The Guardian newspaper for today. Estimators peg exchange rate at 1,400 naira as naira finds fair value. More on that on page 6. This is the first time I've ever had to use the word estimators. You look at that infographic, the naira value measurement, and what that says about everything you need to know about our financial policy direction or fiscal policy direction. Delays, uncertainties in student loan scheme compound woes. This is an analysis on the pages of the Guardian newspaper. As Sumaya read earlier on the Punch, I think the president is sent to inaugurate the program, launch it. But in other news, federal government lawmakers fold budget pardon claim. Huriwa urges probe. That's the Human Rights Watch urging for a probe of the allegation. In other news, to stem rising food prices and anger in the land. I think this is an editorial from the Guardian newspaper for today. Security agencies mom as search for abducted Kuriga school pupils continue. Governors unveil proactive steps to address food crisis. Serap asks NCC to restore blocked phone lines. I think the NCC is not going back on this one. We've talked about, the same NIN linkage. And, to be fair to the NCC, there's been enough of an ample time that has been given to Nigerians to do the needful. So perhaps people should just go ahead and link it, and then your services will be restored. NDLEA intercepts illicit drug consignment in commercial bus engine, arrests 2 elderly citizens, grandparents, who are not responsible, caught in the drug cartel business.
This is really scary. I mean, there was a time we saw a 70-year-old man was arrested with drugs.
Why did you say it like that? The moment you said 70-year-old man, my man went somewhere else.
No, you see this and you say, okay, there is this saying, the elders know better. So if you see someone...
Do they? Not all the time. We have elders.
It's looking like that.
Elders running the show in this country.
It's actually looking like that, and it's not... really
but
great.
this is not how you want to age.
Indeed.
You don't want to age in a very disgraceful manner.
Indeed.
And unfortunately for these octogenarians or septuagenarians, they are going to find out the hard way that this is not the life that they should be exploring.
A really sad situation there. All right, let's move on from the Guardian newspaper there. Let's take a look at The Nation. Major story there says presidency slams senator over budget padding claim. It's divisive antics to achieve primordial ends. 3 North senators kick. As well, you find that story, of course, on a punch. Below the headmaster, it says audit report indicts the NUPRC and customs for non-remittance into federation account. I mean, the customs have been doing a great job, even coming out to say this is how much we have, remit. But then now they're saying there is also, it's not all, alleged corruption happening there, and that is not what we need at this point. So we hope, there's a good deep findings of what is happening. Now, speaking on the major story here on the presidency slamming the senator. The mix-up was created by Ningi, that's according to the federal government. The appropriation bill signed into an act on January 1st, 2024 is 28.7 trillion naira and not 25 trillion naira as claimed by him. Now, this is what the presidency are saying to clarify that, because the 3 million alleged now, if they say it's 28, then it's
I'm not advocating that his comments should be thrown away because they lack validity, but it's not easy to manipulate 3 trillion naira in the budget.
It's a huge amount.
It's a huge amount that it can't go unnoticed. And I believe that if that was what was happening, more than one senator will be speaking out on this one. Yeah,
indeed. All right, we just hope to get more details on that, for the sake of Nigerians. PENCOM didn't give federal government 10 trillion naira loan. Agency, it's not a bank, says the DG. Okay, another clarification there. Disco explains the blackout in Kwara, Oyo, Ogun, and 40,000 Ogun farmers get lift. Now, if Discos are explaining all of this, we need to hear, in the whole of Nigeria, not just specific states, because even the FCT is suffering.
Especially the FCTs.
A week, yes, week.
Especially the FCT.
So
I want to see the minister make good on his threat.
Indeed.
Of revoking their licenses, those underperforming discos and whatnot.
People need to take their job seriously. It's not even making sense. If you apply for the job, if you have it, then please, you need to do.
You're in the service industry, and power is central.
It is.
To the economy. We can't fix the economy with just policies if we don't have
power
structural, infrastructural issues like, power, for instance. Without power, tell me how we're going to revive the industries. Tell me how we're going to turn Nigeria into a manufacturing hub. Tell me how we're going to revitalize the likes of the southeast, for instance, where a significant part of manufacturing is done in that region. it just doesn't make any sense.
And we keep
It's one
pushing
thing
for
to
production.
yeah, it's one thing to work on the reform and the legislation side by making sure these laws are business friendly, but it's another thing when people have to, consider cost of production by buying diesel every now and then to address all their issues along the value chain. So
Indeed.
it just doesn't make sense. You look at the power sector, it's in shambles, and it explains a lot as to why we are where we are today. And I don't think that this posturing, this grandstanding from the Minister of Power is going to have the needed effect that it's supposed to have to improve the situation. It just doesn't look like, we're getting ahead of this issue.
It doesn't at all. I agree with you on that one, Abdullah. It does not. Nigerians are already complaining. I mean, we've been complaining for the longest time. And every day we know that we keep bringing out the problems, but then the solutions are what we're waiting for. But anyways, if you want, there is more stories on The Nation. You can pick The Nation and get those stories. Thank you so much for joining us. I mean, with that, we've come to the end of the show. We appreciate you spending your 2 hours. Those that call in during the interaction session, appreciate your time. Please do stick around. At the top of the hour, 360 Sport would be here by Emmanuel Fashemi. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Do have a lovely day.
Thank you so much for joining us on the program. We'll see you next time. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Good morning.